Hello, and thank you so much for joining us today. I am Amber Miller, Associate State Director of Community Outreach for AARP Wisconsin. We're very excited to bring you these videos in partnership with the Wisconsin Institute for Healthy Aging because September is Falls Prevention Month. And today we have with us Shannon Myers, who is with the Institute for Healthy Aging, and she is the Stepping On faculty trainer. Shannon, thank you so much for joining us today.
Yes, thank you, Amber, for having me.
Absolutely. So how big of a problem are older adult falls in Wisconsin?
That's a great question. And I usually like to kind of start to bring it more nationally and hone it down into Wisconsin. And when we think about national, 1 in 4 older adults fall each year, and less than half actually tell their doctor. So just with that fact out there too, we know that there's so many more falls going on in people's lives that even family members may not know of. Nationally too, that there's $50 billion spent in medical costs related to non-fatal fall injuries. Yeah, it's even better. $754 million is spent in related to fatal falls too. And so this is not just a small problem, unfortunately. It's a very costly one. Emotionally, physically, and financially for a lot of individuals, especially our older adults. And then actually, this is not a number one to be proud of for the nation, but Wisconsin is actually leading the nation in the deaths from falls from older adults. And so it's definitely something we need to focus our attention on and really start getting some great work out there. And we have a lot of wonderful opportunities and resources available out there. It's just a matter of helping individuals to get connected. And looking into Wisconsin a little bit more as to how big and why we're number one is actually in 2019, deaths from falls in Wisconsin outnumber the deaths from breast and prostate cancer combined. And then falls related resulted in about 129,000 emergency room visits and nearly 16,000 hospitalizations in 2017. So yeah, and those are all facts that were really supported by our support Department of Health Services. And there's a ton more facts that they can provide, as well as along with the CDC. But overall in Wisconsin, medical charges for falls paid mostly by the taxpayer-supported Medicare and Medicaid programs, and it's exceeded $1 billion. So again, very costly, unfortunately.
Yeah, and if people are watching this, they might be as shocked as I am with those statistics, because when you think about, somebody fell yesterday, you don't think about, the impact and what that means. So, exactly. it just sounds very common. So when people are aging, should we have that mentality that, it's just going to be common for us to fall?
So it is common, but is definitely not a normal part of aging. That is very misled. A lot of people mention that, I fall because I'm older and maybe because I'm not as active. So there's a lot of different reasons why people are falling, but it's very important to know that it is not a normal part of aging. Again, falls are the most common and costly, especially among Americans 65 years and older. But again, falls can be prevented in many, many different ways and do not have to be an inevitable part of aging. And every second of every day, an older adult that's age 65 years and older suffers from a fall in the U.S. And so making falls the leading cause of injury and injury death in this age group, actually.
And that's why I feel like this partnership of bringing this really great information throughout the whole month of September is just so crucial, because there will be a lot of guest experts that will be talking about ways to help with balance, to help with, when you're outside walking, maybe different colored clothes to wear and looking for curves and walking up steps. So we're really excited to bring this information to the audience who will be watching the videos. So Shannon, what are the main areas to address to reduce the risk of falling?
Yeah, and just kind of want to tie in the last question into this question, because I think this is a great statement to kind of blend the two, is the National Council on Aging actually states that practical lifestyle adjustments, evidence-based falls prevention programs, and clinical community partnerships can really help seniors reduce their falls substantially, actually. And so we look at here on the slide that there's many different areas that constitute into a fall that we have to consider. It's not just the lack of strength or balance, but rather a lot of different areas that we incorporate into our everyday life that can really contribute to the event of a fall. Oftentimes there's more than one item that builds into that event. And so when we look at these different topics, home modifications being one, you know, it's very common that you hear family members saying, oh, you pick up your throw rug. You don't need to have that in your house. And so, yes, that, you know, definitely can be very true, but there's different tactics to approach that. And I'll get into that a little bit later. But more so when we think about home modifications, it's making sure that our space is functional, where we're minimizing the hazards and taking a look at those throw rugs, taking a look at the lighting that we have in each room and that illuminates our pathway around our house. And not only the physical features of our environment, but actually the habits that we have within ourselves. So are we grabbing onto that grab rail in our shower every time we're getting in and out of the shower? Or are we picking up our feet? Are we walking heel to toe? So it's all different things that are both physical and then habitual within ourselves that we need to consider within that home modification. The second item is balance and strength. And I specifically listed as balance versus strength because we know that balance is definitely a bigger part of fall prevention and that we want to focus on. And so we want to make sure that exercises that older adults are engaging with have or are tied to a function. So everyday living, whether it be getting up and down from a chair, reaching very high into a covert without losing our balance, or even something just as simple as looking up without getting dizzy. And so I'll talk a little bit about a program that incorporates some of these exercises and really how they've been proven to help reduce the risk of falling. Medications being another one. So medication reviews are very beneficial for older adults to engage with because we know there too, if individuals are taking 4 or more medications, they are put at a higher risk for falls because of adverse effects that might be happening amongst those medications. And so it's important that we talk with not only our doctor, but recognize the specialty area in which a pharmacist has been trained and educated in to be able to conduct a lot of these medication reviews and kind of act as an advocate for those older adults with their doctor to come up with a better solution that would better minimize their risk of falling or at least talk with the patient, the older adult, to find a better way to take that medication, whether it's at time of day, with food, without food, different things like that. Vision being another area is, you know, we already assume with the low vision that we might not see things as well. So while only 5.5% of individuals aged 18 to 44 experience low vision, the number more than doubles for those that are aged between 45 and 64. And then those that are 65 to 74, it nearly triples, especially when we get to that 75 part or 75 age. And so as you can see, as we age, we get age-related conditions within our eyes, our vision. And so it really comprehends what we're able to help give messages to our brain and recognize that there's objects in our way or just even something as small as maybe a dog toy on the floor. Also, older adults with vision loss are twice as likely to fall as those without vision loss. So again, failing to see those environmental hazards, and then the experience of maintaining their balance, and then overcorrection. You know, if we see something and it startles us, we're more likely to overcorrect. And so sometimes when individuals are experiencing low vision, we might have a little bit more trouble taking a corrective action that's appropriate and might turn into a stumble and get us off balance. And then finally, exercise. Individuals with lower vision might exercise less and consequently lose strength and balance as they age. So the final item here, or I'm sorry, the second final thing here is hearing. And as with vision, hearing loss also increases with age. and a third of the adults over the age of 65 experience hearing loss, and about 1/2 of the adults over the age of 85. For every 10 decibels, the chance of falling increases by 1.4-fold. And even a mild loss of 25 decibels renders that the individual is 3 times as likely to fall as those without a hearing loss. And then individuals with hearing losses, they are less aware of their surroundings, and they do not benefit from the auditory clues around the environment. So for example, someone coming up behind us and saying hi, we might not hear them, and then it startles us, and so we tend to get knocked off balance a little bit. And so tripping and falling are more likely in that aspect. Often suffer also from cognition overload or cognition load, in which the brain is overwhelmed by all the demands on its limited resources. So everything that's coming in, that we're trying to decipher through, and so it's harder to make those decisions as to how we need to react in certain aspects related to loss of hearing. And then our final area is community safety. So this is looking outside of our home. When we go and visit a store or go out to eat with friends and family, when there is a time to do that, I should say. And then, so beyond our home, we need to think and consider what we need to become more aware of in our surroundings, such as crossing streets and cars coming in and going, especially since we're not frequenting the same spot over and over and over like we would normally in our own home. So definitely considering all those different areas within our community that could present us being a little less likely to maintain our balance or give us an opportunity to fall, which we hope is not the case. But yeah, thinking inside the home and outside the home.
Absolutely. And Shannon, why don't you tell us a little bit about the Stepping On program? I know you alluded to it a little bit ago, but if you could tell us a little bit more about it.
Yeah, I'd love to. So Stepping On, it's actually been here in Wisconsin since 2006. It was originally created in Australia. And because of the partnerships and with Dr. Jane Mahoney that we have here in the state, we were able to bring the program to Wisconsin then and really adapt it to the North American way of living. And so the program itself is a multifactorial program. So what that means is it's more than just exercise. It really helps the participants to explore outside of strength and balance as to what more they could be doing to help prevent falls within their environment, within their own ways of living. The program itself has been proven to reduce the risk of falling by 31%, which is pretty significant for a lot of programs. There are other fall prevention programs out there that highlight different aspects of falling, but Stepping On kind of brings all of that together, which is a nice package for a lot of individuals to engage with. The program itself runs for 7 weeks, so it's 1 day a week for 2 hours, and we have trained leaders that lead through the curriculum and make sure that the individuals are being exposed to all the different components that they want to consider when they're looking at ways to prevent the falls. So who attends this class? The target is really those that are independent within their own community. So they're living in their own home, their own apartment, or an independent living facility too. And the reason why is because we want to help them maintain that independence, maintain in their home, and really stay engaged with their community. The original research was really targeted for those that were 65 years and older. However, after bringing it here to Wisconsin and now nationwide, we really target those that are 60 years and older. Again, looking for ways to prevent sooner and not waiting for it to happen, kind of thing. We also ensure that the individuals are cognitively intact, because with the program itself being a behavior change, it's so critical that the individual can make decisions for themselves and really flesh through problems or ways to problem solve different hazards that they come across. Also, walking independently, they can use a cane all of the time, some of the times if they want, as well as a walker. They can use a walker outside of the home and still be acceptable for the program. And then finally, if they've had a fall or have a fear of falling, those individuals we definitely want to capture as well within the program.
Absolutely. And I do have to say, I was lucky enough to shadow one of the Stepping On programs
Great.
in the Milwaukee area as part of my learning more through AARP, and I found it to be extremely educational. I would have never guessed in a million years that they would be talking, for instance, about medications and how to properly get in and out of your car. So we actually went outside, the group of us, and they showed how to do it. And I could tell you, I'm definitely getting out of my car incorrectly. So I feel like the Stepping On program is amazing. And I do hope the folks who are watching this definitely can look into the program more. I think it could be life changing.
Yeah, and you really highlight a valid point within the program too, is because we incorporate those guest experts. Obviously when we train leaders, we train them on the curriculum, but we don't expect them to be the actual professionals in every category. And so that's why we incorporate those guest experts. And so the experience that you had was probably when the physical therapist was there. And the nice thing is the participants are the ones that really focus on the topics and the areas that they wanted to practice that day, which is pretty cool because we can tailor it to the group and what is more meaningful to them to move forward with. And you're right with the medications too. We definitely incorporate a medication expert along with a safety, community safety professional and a vision expert. And so all within this, we really make sure that individuals with hearing loss or have low vision are also invited to the program too, because we know that they have every ability to prevent the falls that may be coming in the future and hopefully stop them from happening. And then currently, actually, the program is not just in Wisconsin, as I kind of shared before, but we are now national. We're in about 21 different states that we reach out to. And of course, we know we can do much, much more. But overall, the concept of the program, and maybe I'm a little biased on this, but I love it. I love the fact because it's empowering the participants to make their own decisions. Again, you could have your adult daughter or your adult son say, you need to pick up those throw rugs. But when it really comes down to it, they'll pick it up when you're not there or when you're there, but they'll put it right back down when you
Absolutely.
leave. And so it's really trying to get those participants to be empowered and make those decisions and really understand the consequences and how they can overcome those different hazards. And I always say the participants will never look at their house the same. They will never look at another person's house the same either.
Absolutely. No, and it's a great program. And, the whole month of September, once again, in partnership with AARP Wisconsin and the Wisconsin Institute for Healthy Aging, there will be several videos that all really touch base on, similar to the Stepping On program, with subjects regarding community safety and medication, and very just educational, informative videos that we really hope that you come back throughout the month of September, throughout this month, and definitely check them out. So Shannon, I want to thank you so much for joining us today. This was really informative, educational, and we're very lucky to have you and very excited throughout the partnership that we have with you in the month of September.
Well, thank you, Amber, for having me. And yeah, we look forward to helping spread the word.
Absolutely. And thank you all for joining us today. Check back here on Facebook and YouTube and to see additional videos throughout the whole month of September, and stay safe.